I kept it under wraps, but last month my fiance and I decided to make a very large move from the house we had been in to a new one closer to the barn. I feel like it was the best thing we could have done. It was closer to the barn for me, and it was also closer to my fiance's job. With this move, and with so many changes happening in our life, I started to really sit back and think of my horses and what was best for them as well. I have introduced all of them in my first ever vlog I made. Estelle is my horse I have had forever. She's taught me pretty much everything, and she's getting pretty old. She's primarily a dressage horse. I haven't really been able to show her or do anything extensive in years, just because I don't want to overwork her. She spends her days in the pasture and gets exercised weekly, but I feel like that is such a lackluster way for a horse to live, and I don't want her to feel like I'm putting her on the back burner. Philo, on the other hand, is always finding ways to get himself hurt. He's the horse I show with the most. And I'm starting to feel really bad about showing him literally every weekend, and I think he also deserves a break, as high-strung as he is. Then I have Orion, my Mustang and Arabian cross. He's my current project from the Mustang Roundup a few months back, and he's not going to be stepping foot in a show ring anytime soon. Coming to all these conclusions made me realize that maybe it's time to phase a new horse into my life. My fiance, of course, was not behind this idea because that meant spending more money, a lot more time away from home for me. But of course, he is extremely supportive, and he eventually was behind the idea as well. I made the decision that I was going to officially retire Estelle. I decided it was time for her to maybe be put in the barn's lesson program where I work, and I could sell her to the barn's owner. Spend her days training younger kids how to ride dressage. I felt like that would be a better fit for her. As much as I'll miss Estelle, because I've literally had her since I was a teenager, it warms my heart knowing that I am doing what's better for her. After this decision, I talked to the barn owner, and she knew of a few sale horses from other trainers around the area. She got in touch with them, and I was able to pick out 3 of my choice to try from a barn not too far down the street. Just from the looks on the website and from their files I was given with all of their records and their lineage, I was pretty excited to start my horse shopping journey. And as much as he complains and as grumpy as he is, my fiance also tagged along. The morning of, I was very excited. My first horse was the off-track mare named Marlowe. She was a thoroughbred, only 5 years old, and she was excellent at cross-country. She was an eventer though, so she could do both dressage and show jumping. She needed a little extra work, but even then, I was really wondering if I would even have the time to do minimal work like that. With Orion and Philo and just selling Estelle for the same reason, I wasn't sure if it would be smart to buy a horse with all these extra things that needed to be worked on. She was a beautiful bay, obviously. She was taken off track just because she simply wasn't cut out for it, which is no big deal, it happens all the time. But she did have some personality to her, I will say that. Very looky. Again, it was an off-track thoroughbred I was on, and I was used to it just being around Philo, so it really didn't bother me, but it was something to note. She responded to cues very well, but she did have an issue with pulling her head down, and she really did not like to stay on the rail at her left lead. The owner would not let me take her on the cross-country course, which was a little bit weird considering they said that was her strength, and I wouldn't have taken her too far, just a few things here and there to see what she could really do. Of course, I respected that. It's their horse and they can do as they please. She was a little tripped up over her feet and had a really hard time recovering when things went kind of sour, which is why I ended up falling off. It's not Marlowe's fault. Again, she's a baby. After I fell, I really had no interest in getting back on because I knew she wasn't really what I was looking for. So I opted to just hand her back over to the owner and wish them well. Marlowe's a great horse though. If you are interested in her, I can pass along her information to you, and you can try her out and maybe buy her for yourself. I was a little discouraged after that, and I was starting to think that maybe it wasn't a good idea to be horse shopping in the first place, and maybe I should just focus on Philo, but the man with me was already very grumpy, and he took a day off of work to come support me in my horse addiction, so I didn't want to let him down. The next horse was a very fancy horse who was a bit out of my price range. Arkin, an 8-year-old stallion, and a Frisian sport. First glance at this horse, and he is beautiful, and just the most luxurious mane I have ever seen. I was really unsure about him being a stallion, especially one that was only 8 years old. Of course, you can have a stallion and it's really no big deal. As long as you train them well and they have manners, there's nothing wrong with having a stallion. And I've met stallions that have been nicer than geldings at times, so that really wasn't the turn off for me. I could always get him gelded, that was no big deal. What I was more concerned about was the fact that the owner did not want me to jump him, period. They had advertised Arkin as an eventer, but I wasn't really going to be able to experience the eventer aspect of him because they only wanted me to do flat and some dressage stuff with him. I didn't press though. I guess there was a reason why they didn't want me to. I was really hoping it wasn't because he was lame and they were still gonna let me just ride him anyway, but I made sure to take a very close look at him when I was walking him to the arena, and he was pretty sound. First impression, he was a very easygoing horse and very responsive. His lineage was great, and he was very, very well bred. It was easy to tell how well he was bred just from a literal glance at him. He was beautiful. His conformation was gorgeous, his gaits were even better, and you could tell he was very, very well trained and well cared for at the facility he was from. During my ride, it was revealed to me that he really did not have that big of a strength in jumping, period. And his stamina was very, very lackluster. That was fine though, because again, I was looking for a horse that was good at dressage, like Estelle was. Estelle was primarily a dressage horse. If that's what it came down to, I did not mind. As long as Philo could get a break from at least one thing, that was no big deal for me. Arkin was very engaged and very well-rounded. He was on the bit and attentive. His transitions were excellent, and he was just everything I would expect from a dressage horse. But in the end, I really just couldn't shake the feeling that he was not exactly what I was looking for. He really wasn't. Everything was fine and dandy until another horse walked into the arena. A mare, I'm assuming, and I was not told that this horse would be walking in. And Arkin kind of lost it. I didn't fall off. If I fell off twice in one day from 2 different horses, that would have been weird. But I didn't fall off. He just sidestepped and spooked and really stopped listening after the other horse walked into the arena. I also found out that he is extremely buddy sour. After his little freak out, I just decided to dismount and again hand him back to the owner, wish them well, and leave it at that. If you are interested in Arkin, I again can pass this information off to you, and you can go ahead and throw your money at him. He is a very beautiful, sweet horse, but again, just not what I was looking for. At this point, I was even more discouraged. I did not think I was going to find a horse today. I could not shake the feeling that again, maybe I wasn't making the right decision, but I prevailed. The final horse of the day was Modelo, a paint and thoroughbred cross, gelded, another 8-year-old, and very, very strong in show jumping. The owner was very upfront that he did have a bit of an issue with refusals, but if you got past it, he was the show jumper of your dreams. And again, look at this horse. He's very unique and very beautiful, and instantly I was just amazed and in love with him. He was very smooth, and his transitions were also excellent. From the second I got on, he was very, very patient with me. He also had excellent ground manners. The other horses did too, but there was something about Modelo where he was just very, very interested in what I was doing, even though he wasn't involved. He was watching me as I tightened the girth and just being very, very sweet, nuzzling me. It was really cute, honestly, it was cute. Flat with him was excellent. He was very, very skilled, very, very smooth. He had a very big stride, but you couldn't really feel how big it was. He was a little distracted. That was no big deal. When I corrected him, he was instantly back on task. I want to say he was my best ride of the day, especially when it came to jumping. I started him out small. The owner was very persistent on letting me see what he could do. She even offered to let me go out on the cross-country course, but I declined because I was going to see what he could really do if that's what he was good at, so I opted to stay in the arena this time. Jumped, excellent. He saved me a few times when I messed up our striding, and he was very scopy, great knees, and I really did not have an issue. The only thing was he was extremely pricey, and I can understand. He was an excellent horse, his breeding was excellent, conformation excellent, lineage great. His dad was a very prolific show jumper, and his mom was an excellent eventer, so his price didn't shock me, but it was still very expensive. I let the owner know that I would call her and let her know my decision eventually. And me and my fiance, we had quite a talk, but he said I should leave it up to you guys. So I ask you this question. Did you like any of the horses I tried today? Do you think I should buy one of these three? Any of the three, even if I said I wasn't sure about them? If so, why? And if not, do you think I should keep trying? Should I try 3 more next week and see where it goes, or should I just choose between these 3? I would really like to know your opinion, so if you could comment below and let me know what you would like me to do. I of course will read all of them and go from there. I am leaning towards Modelo, but I am open to trying more horses or retrying Arkin and Marlowe again. Just let me know what you guys would like to see. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me today. And thank you if you watched this far. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next week, hopefully. Alright, bye!